here and check out the build and track confluence algorithm. And yeah, it was also in the wrong one. All right, so we'll give these a shot here. This one's going to be private. We'll make it public later, but this is going to be live prep. Again, sorry for the delay getting stuff started here. Just going to walk through the prep like we normally would, stream it live, see how this goes, see if we keep doing it or not. So start off just from the top of the list, and the first one in the list today actually is Meta, formerly known as Facebook. So looks pretty simple. Actually, let's make this a little bit bigger. Facebook's range been about $10 lately, so let's see how this plays out. So I think that my stuff still hasn't updated yet. I love technology when it just doesn't work for you. Things stop playing on the videos, on the audio. There you go, now it's updated. Okay. So yeah, it really looks like those are the only two zones. So let's see how that gets captured in here. So for Meta, it's really just got these two zones. I think if I were doing this though, I would actually be watching this kind of for a div come back down into this area. 191, so its potential based upon recent range. Yesterday obviously was a little bit extreme with the Powell talk, but you could set up for a back-to-back ADR type of day, average daily range. So it's potentially come down to the tier 2 day cheat code. Sure as hell, I mean, the other potential one is come up and tag the end of week move, which is the pink dots, and then quarterly trend guide 3. Although it has been flirting with this anchored VWAP from the highs, going all the way back to September of 21. So that's probably unlikely, but it's still in a zone / area to watch. And then you have this gap fill in tier 2 day cheat up here. So that's, I think, how I would treat Facebook or Meta, as it were. And we'll put a little comment in here. Could treat as two zones or just one bigger. And then I'll actually take that and I'm going to put it in the room that I'm a part of. QQQ prep. Wednesday, February 8th, 2023, Meta. ADRs are calculated. Yeah, so I mean, so the way that it looks at stuff, I mean, the quarterly trend guide is just on the verge of the, on the edge of the stream. So, yeah. Okay, so that's Meta. I'm going to go next, just keeping with the room that I post some of this stuff in. I'm going to go actually and pull up next the Qs. And then I'll make my way back to some of the other breadth. And then I'll make my way back to some of the other breadth pieces, and then ultimately end off in the futures. So Qs, first thing I'm going to do, obviously it's got to run through its calculations to rebuild things, see if anything's changed overnight. First thing I'm going to do is get rid of this anchored VWAP. There's really no reason to put them in with any of this stuff. You could put it there. I guess it's not a bad spot. And there's to Ziggy's question there. Full, actually, percentage and dollar-wise ADRs are up here, and it's actually in a zone. So you got multiple pieces of evidence that combine into one. And then down here, you actually had same. Right? So the way the algorithm works is it doesn't create a zone or a div unless you've got several pieces of evidence building up the confluence case. Otherwise, it's just kind of you have crap everywhere, and we still have pieces of that here and there for sure. So. All right, let's move to doing this. So the queues, yesterday's range is about $8. I'm gonna capture this stuff here. All right, so yeah, you definitely have that 318. Should have zoomed that out. I'm not going to do that now. I would actually treat this as a zone 2, and this is where I talk about in some of the Substack posts that we do. Like, this is where you combine the kind of brains in the robot pieces, so it's not just a bot. It's the combination of the two that help give you that nice edge. Because missing that quarterly trend guide 2 with the end of week. That's what the pink dots mean. Pink tell me that it's the end of week expected move. And yellows give me the clue for the day. So that's actually where it's really sweet here. The daily trend guide reversal 1 lines up just amazing with last week's highs. It also lines up with that sheet. So that's a pretty nice one. You normally skip and don't care about inside trend strength reference point, but man, it's trend strength reference points, monthly trend guide, annual pivot. It's also at the bottom edge of supply and demand. And as we saw here earlier, right, there's a swing anchored VWAP from when Powell's presser kind of hit the floor and started to push back really hard. It's also interesting that these are 60-minute bars. I do that just to kind of get some more bars in the screen and get a bigger picture. So. All right, what do we got next? So then below that, we're going to have trend guide and sheet 1 day. And then below that further, you get this one. I would actually adjust this trend guide one here. And I think I would actually watch for this. Get this swing AV-WAP. I mean, the Qs, just like the NASDAQ, tend to overshoot. So I don't think I would watch for stopping on the dime at that daily cheat. I would look for lower. So that's how I'm going to treat that one. And let's go back and post. QQQ. All right, so now we got that done. Next, I go up and I take a look at UVXY and VIX. So UVXY is going to be the ETF that tracks volatility for VIX. It's leveraged at 1.5 times, if I remember correctly. Maybe it's 2x, I don't remember. It has not been trading well at all recently. In trading well, I mean like any freaking range, right? 19 cents was freaking Monday's range. Yesterday, the whole freaking daily range was 38 cents. I mean, yeah, if you nail the low yesterday to the high, I mean, okay, cool, got some money, but kind of a waste of time. But it is good for clues more often than not. It's just super small in the range right now. So anyways, let's go ahead and carve it up. Hopefully these parts come through here. And we got to spend extra time in here. So for this one, I'd be looking at that area, and I'd also be looking way down here. And these don't get picked up in the algo, not because they're not pieces of evidence, but it looks at this, daily range, and it's like that's on the verge of getting outside of the range. We also have extra hooks in, so that way in these smaller stocks, it just doesn't continue to recommend crap and fill up your screen with worthless stuff. if we were to do something super stupid today, we could come up here and grab this. We could also potentially come down there. I didn't zoom out further, and it probably doesn't matter today for UVXY, but the other piece that keeps playing in the back of my head is this much higher time frame ABCD setting up for this 430s. But this has actually been a pretty... I mean, you could be setting up for another kind of bounce like we had back here in December. That kind of looks similar, but this may actually start to give us a little lift, and it'd be nice because indexes, which you'll see here later, are definitely into some overbought territory. Alright, VIXY, go ahead and post this. Alright, so then next up we take a look at VIX. VIX has also got some higher time frame ABCDs. I'll zoom out on this as it redraws here. They look pretty interesting. And we've been hitting some higher time frame kind of supply levels from way back in February and stuff of 22. So a little over a year ago, right? We hit that the other week. Actually, that was January. We hit that just Friday of last week. Oh shit, no, that was Monday. Alright, so pull this back, get some bigger picture. Yeah, that's interesting. Ziggy's pointing out he's good eye there. Nice kind of inverse head and shoulders there on both the UVXY and VIX for that matter there. Right? You got kind of the dip there, bigger dip. I mean, it's just setting up. What's interesting is VIX keeps rejecting this falling trend line. And I mean, it's a pretty massive slope though. That's probably what, oh shit, that's more than a 45-degree slope. That's pretty big. In any event, let's keep moving so we don't pontificate all over the place. So VIX has got a handful of zones. It doesn't look like there's a lot extra I'll carve up for it. It does pick out a much lower zone. It's interesting why I grabbed that one. Alright, let's go ahead and capture this, get it set up and posted. So for this guy here, and this is part of the whole bundle, folks, and kind of what we're looking to build out and deliver and get to everybody's hands is, I mean, I've got all this. My prep is pretty straightforward here, right? I just look at the output, check the zones, go through and make mental notes, and then map this out for some other folks. Like, yeah, I probably don't care about that gap fill. It's in the middle of nothing. But what I would pay attention to is this kind of opportunity or possibility there on that. We've come down here before. Like, we haven't hit the monthly trend guide, but I mean, wouldn't it get everybody super excited if we came down and tagged all the way down there to the weekly trend guide as opposed to just hitting the ADRs in monthly trend guide reversal? So that'd be one, and then the other piece, $2 up. You got your first tier daily cheat here. If you wanted to really blow off, you could come up even further. And actually, I want to go back and fill and grab some of that wick, especially if we close at highs. I mean, that would really get a lot of people sideways. Damn, that sucks. The ES position isn't going the way I want it to. Okay, so that is UVXY VIX. So then next up, we're going to take a look at the futures. We'll start off by taking a look at ES, and then we'll continue our way throughout. Just like anything else we had, we didn't have a lot of these in some of the last ones, but definitely some AVWAP cleanup to do here. I'm going to anchor this one the same way we did with the Qs, and put it down there. Get rid of this one because it's also garbage. It's been way too over-undered. That is not the right candle I want. I want it over one more. And I know that because it tells me, look at that, it's February 7th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Bullshit, I don't want that one. I want it anchored at the 1 o'clock time frame. I just can't grab the stupid thing because it's all covered by all this wonderful evidence down here. There we go. Nope. Alright, 6:48. I'm going to run it way the fuck behind from where the hell I want to be. Anyway, we keep rejecting this 4180 area. I mean, it goes back. There's been lots of structure in here. It's definitely I mean, I'd almost say like we need to go back and redo supply and demand zones and revamp these because these haven't been touched in several months now. But I mean, it's looking more and more like this is going to be a big kind of area here. This is a lot of stuff in here too. I think this is how I'm going to take a look at this for today. So some of those zones are going to be really super dead obvious. This to me is going to be more than a div. It's going to be a div and zone actually, and it's going to be expanded out because it'll be tier 2. And so that's why it's picking up. It's got the gap fill, cheat 2 end of week. Monthly trend guide is just a touch above it. But then you've got down below this tier 3 daily cheat. This would be an ultimate massive blow off. It'd be a percentage wise full ADR. And then what you've got supply and demand low. Yeah, it's really interesting. Then you've got over here, nice little gap fill, tier 1, end of week cheats, tier 2 day cheats, weekly trend guide, photo dollar wise ADR. Have to check those here in a second too to make sure I got stuff right. I don't know, I'm worried about this monthly trend guide reversal 1 here. I think I'd rather watch more for something like this. I mean, we do have the monthly trend guide. Actually, what you could potentially do is treat these as 2 smaller zones, and maybe look at it like this, where we started wicking and skipping things here like this, and carved it up into 2 zones. Get you to what, like 4190 to 4200? Yeah, I think that's how I would look at that one. Just break this up into 2 zones and look at it that way. I don't care about this zone here. I mean, yeah, we're trading. We rejected that overnight, but I mean, I know I said like, hey, we've been hitting this thing all over the place, but shit, like, I don't know if I'd be watching that as much. I gotta check my my position here on the side. Okay, I don't need to stop out yet. I think in my mind, like if we go back, I mean, this is one to keep an eye on. So let's actually just go ahead and mark it. I still got the arrow on. So I would say we want to keep an eye on and mark. I would change it a tad bit. And probably just go like, shit, and just go like this. Hourly perspective, we came up, we tagged, but look, I mean, there's no real wicks kind of, going back here. So if we came up and just tagged the bottom part of this, closed the gap fill from the other day, I mean, be a nice lower high. Again, would really love a kind of blow off top into this stuff up here, but you gotta be, beggars can't be choosers. Crap, I gotta close this position because now it is the wrong way on me. Alright, so then down below, what do we got? We're gonna have trend guide, prior swing low from June of 21. So there's some historical structure there. Got a low minimum tier, got a gap fill from a couple days ago. And then the big piece is going to be much. I'm not going to. Oh well, should I say that? Yeah, we keep testing this 4100. I guess you can go back over here too and see we keep testing. We did blow right through it, but we came back and tested a couple of times over the last few days. I guess what you could do is treat it like this. So it look like it's if it comes down and just taps that tier 2, then it looks like it's going to pierce and go below and trap people. But I mean, it's been tested so much, and I'd really love to see it come down and tap this stuff here. And 40.73, those looks like it's where the day VWAP is. So the swing is just actually, swing looks like it's just about the same spot because the swing's on 60 minutes, so that's pretty interesting. I hadn't seen that before. Both January 9th, one, yeah, that's pretty cool. 1 hour seems to be tracking pretty damn close to the daily. If we blow through that too, so what are we at? 41.59, that'd be 100 points. That's starting to get up there for ES. It's got to hold that. It doesn't, and then you're down here to this kind of stuff, which should not be a today thing. So yeah, I would just treat that as kind of a combination of these two. Now, in terms of what I'll probably watch for the day, I'll want to watch this photo ADR area, and I'll probably watch these two up here and give it a shot at these areas from a short perspective. And then we'll see how prices respond. If we blow through this tier 1 daily cheat, then I'll really be watching kind of this area here. In fact, I want to put a box around that one, because this weekly cheat will be a big clue as to what we do. And I would watch for it like that. I would definitely start in early at that end of week cheat. And yeah, we may come up and tag, but you put on 1 here, 2, 3. I mean, this is going to be a big area and would really extend this symmetrical extreme. I think that's the way I'd look at that. Crap, it's already 7 o'clock. Yep, you got your div. I got an exit. Alright, so what is this? This is going to be prep for Wednesday, February 8th, 2023, ES. Sorry, I was just typing out here. I'll read this actually as I type. So just saying, so there's interesting zones today for sure. At 4180, 4110 area keep being tested a bunch. I mean, it's going to break soon and pick a direction one way or the other. This symmetrical extreme stuff definitely has a suggestion that it's going to break down here at some point soon. But you got to keep in mind, right? Markets will stay irrational longer than you can say afloat. So keep in mind, can still run higher, preferred, before we start to base pull back. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, 100 points down is not unheard of today. That'd be a massive and quick reset, but I mean, it doesn't look like a lot, but that's really getting up there. That's what this bottom graph measures, is symmetrical extremes. And it's got a little ways up there till it gets to that top tier. Let's see if we can get that easily enough, or if it wants to be silly on us. Nope, cool. So I can actually double click that line. This is the fine symmetrical extremes. So kind of the extreme over the years has been a little over 7%. And you can see the other positive tiers and where they've been at from a symmetrical extreme. And just for context, this has been analyzed over 3,600 plus days. So about 10 years of data, give or take, is what it's going back and looking at for those symmetrical extreme mapping. Same for the 50-day. It's got quite a ways, actually, the 50-day. Which could give us that clue that this could still run a lot higher up into the, say, like tier 2 cheat or some of the other ones. But anyway, I'm going to stop pontificating. Okay, so next, did I click on NQ? Yeah, I clicked on NQ. So we're going to take a look here at NQ. While I click on it, it's going to go back through and rerun the algorithm real quick just to see if anything's changed, which we should have some, because NQ's been moving since this was analyzed last night. So it'll move around the ADR zones and stuff like that. And of course have some cleanup to do in here like we had in ES with our VWAPs. That guy there is no longer valid because it's been way overed and undered. It also has the same kind of anchor VWAP 1 o'clock. You can turn on and turn off too if you want the candle anchor. I think we got to clean that up a little bit. The intention was to try to put the anchor where things kind of sat. I don't really like what it's doing. I think what it might just do is, yeah, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But that's super interesting too. It's also right at trend strength reference point, annual pivot point, monthly trend guide. So this looks much. I like the way this NQ chart looks a lot better than the ES one does so far. We'll see as we dig into it. It's actually up even further into its symmetrical extreme tiers. It's getting much closer to its max than ES was. We're not too far away either from that September high. And then I guess this is probably the... Oh, that's what this one is here. It's just not marked in this chart because I did it the wrong way. So you got that, and you got this. There we go. I think I'd actually mark this guy here too, because look, you got some structure going back in through here. I'm gonna mark that one there like that. 730. It's only 200 points up. 220 would be 500. I mean, 500 points, not unheard of for NQ. We've actually had some quieter days recently, in my mind. You know, look back to some of these days back here. I mean, what the hell was this candle? Middle mouse click. You're gonna do the math. We got 987 to 82. I mean, 900 points. So yeah, let's go up and touch something way up here, baby, and see what we get. Just double check a weekly chart real quick here too. Which, by the way, that's what the orange line is on the other one. The orange line with there's an indicator called Show Moving Average Group, and that indicator you can specify both. Pick the time frame the chart's on. You can draw a moving average, simple or exponential, and tie it to a day or a week, and see where all that lines out. What's interesting is that that anchored VWAP. I mean, it's kind of, you know, in the early days it got violated, but I mean, look at its interaction since, right? And we're right at that damn thing here, right? 12,948, which lines up perfectly to 995. So go do your NASDAQ thing, right? Pop above, tag that, tag the weekly anchor VWAP, and then fall back. That would be really, really sweet. Damn. Weekly a VWAP from highs. Gonna line up with structure at 12,995. And this week's and area of last week's highs. We actually discarded that because it had way too many early violations. So just from the way that the algorithm stuff works and tracks the pieces here for anchored VWAPs. I mean, this one, it just, I mean, you know, good, over, big time. That's a strike again. So you get back under, you remove a strike, way over, strike again. So you get two strikes here because you closed above. You didn't even have a low near that. And so this right here probably violated it early days. It's definitely something we can take a look at because, like I said, this had some nice interactions here a couple of times. We just dick for ticked it back in August, and now we're playing with it again. I mean, it rejected the damn T last week. All right, so let's carve all this up. Let's push it back to daily, come over here, and let's carve this up. This is what we call a royal flush zone. So you have some really big evidence in here, right? Quarterly trend guide, weekly trend guide reversal 1, full ADRs. That's a pretty big zone. And the other thing that we just saw that we were going to call out here that was not in our list, actually it, man, like, I think I would actually take and look at this zone like this. And I'll put a note in there. Fuck, no, you can't do that. That's 100 points, man. That's just way too big. I think I would maybe look at it instead like this. And then call out this piece here. Last week highs, weekly AVWAP as noted from highs in 2021, capped to the tick last week around the 12,950-ish level. Would love to see tap of end of week pink. Expected move and 12,985 structure, then reverse. Okay, so here's one, like this trend guide, like it's there. I mean, and I'll mark it actually, but I don't care about that. Like if I'm thinking about what and how I want to think about things today, this to me is one zone, but I don't care about that zone. I mean, I want to see a div lower, collect the bottom edge of this supply and demand, kind of, you know, potentially even go down and grab this here. So I think I'd much actually rather see it do something like this. And then shit, if it doesn't hold that, we're failing big time. Now we do have one possibility. We could do something like this. And do a breakout kind of retest and come back and touch that area. But otherwise, I would think that we're going to come back down here and tag this kind of area. Alright, so next up we're going to look at RTY. We used to have a guy in the room that would do these all the time, and got a key in the confluence of price action. Yeah, big time. Sorry, Ziggy. When I capture the screen, I just don't see. I don't see your comments. I have to set up a separate screen so I can see this stuff. Wish there was a time block in here too, so I could see where this stuff sets up at. Because I have no timestamps in this live chat. It kind of sucks. Anyways, just starting to say, we used to have a guy in the room that would do this for us all the time. He'd boil this shit down to 5 minutes. Either I talk way too much first time, something, because this is taking forever. I know actually I'm explaining some of this stuff, so anywho. Alright, so what do we got here? So, no way is that a fucking royal flush zone. Oh, this hasn't updated yet. Yeah, there you go. 712 and updated. Interesting that we rejected that rising transfer trend line down here. Alright. Kind of nice, couple of touches in through here, one touch there, blow through. Actually, I don't know how the hell this came. Oh, because I just attached it because it just went over. Yeah, it's still interesting that we are rejecting the top edge of that one. In any event, so today we've got this. I drag down a little bit if I'm looking at this. And not capture the upper edge and take it like that. This would be massive if we do something like this. That's tier 3 end of day cheat, and that would be perfectly frickin' mapped his structure going back to the August highs in the Russell. And I would say pretty much nobody's going to have this on their charts here, which would be interesting because most people don't have any idea about what and how to measure the expected move stuff. It's interesting, it maps out with the ADRs. I would look at that. I would skip the trend guide. I'd obviously read price action, see where KRE, IWM, MDY are at, but yeah, that's nice there. It's actually with the gap fill. And then you get nothing. I mean, I don't care about weekly pivoting here. I mean, it's just, you know, yeah. I mean, you see there's a little bit of action here, but not enough for me to really care and pay attention to it. And fuck, I just marked the wrong zone. That, which has the gap fill and the cheat, this is trend guide reversal. And then we get nothing until way down here. I would, you know, I'm gonna look at it like this. This was a nice thing yesterday, right? Maybe we could get something like this again. That would be frickin' amazing if we could do that. Come down, tag this structure in here. Tag that 1935 level, photo dollar-wise ADRs, tier 2 day cheat. That would be pretty nice in my book. And then the other piece actually going to be way down here. This what is that, zone 4? Meh. It's there. Watch for price action and response off. And response off. Supply and demand, VWAP. More interested in structure. I think that's how I look at RTY. And stupid fucking thing doesn't respond and put it the right way. I hate that. So RTY. What's he got to say? Nice. Nice entry there off of trend strength. Also got naked value area low on that one there. I think it's value area low. Let me see. Responding to somebody else here. Actually, that's yesterday's value area high from a volume profile perspective. Right at trend strength reference point. The volume area low is actually way the hell down at 4100. That makes that area even more interesting now that I look at that part. 4156 on ES. Not bad. Okay, moving on next, we got YM. I'll bet you what the guy who used to do this stuff, he'd probably go through all this stuff mentally and then boil everything down after he'd looked through all these when he did them. Because his videos weren't going to be nearly as this long. What does it say we're streaming at now? 48 freaking minutes. Of course, I had some technical problems and some other fun challenges. Alright, so let's zoom this out, wait for this guy to wake up from his sleep timer and update the zones based upon how we've traded in the overnight session. See if we need anything else. This has been kind of an interesting block here too, right? With YM, I mean, had been the absolute strongest out of everything, and it's been cooling off the last little bit. been tapping the lower edge. So this is a really kind of stupid wedge up in terms of its slope. I probably will take a look, and that's kind of why I drew this one here. It's much more reasonable. This is a good one. Interesting it does. Oh, because it picked up this zone way I was wondering what the heck, why did it not pick up? It picked up that zone way up here. It's not crack. There's no way we're trading 1,200 fucking points. I mean, it's not unheard of, but there's no way in hell we're trading 1,200 points in this thing today. I don't think there's any. Is there major econ today? We got a bunch of Fed speak today. You got 8:15 Williams, 8:30 Cook, 10 o'clock wholesale inventories, 10 o'clock you've got Barr, governor voter, you have Bostic, who's a non-voter at 10 o'clock Eastern times, weekly DOE, Kashkiri is talking again at 12:30 Eastern. I'm not sure if it's a big bond auctions, but you got a expectation of 32 billion in 10-year notes at 1 o'clock Eastern. I wonder if we just kind of... Oh, and then you got Waller talking this afternoon at 1:45 Eastern. Maybe we do something stupid and we sell way down and then bottom or reverse up. That'd be a freaking massive trap for the Bears if we do something silly like that. And a massive trap for the Bulls. But so many people are still out there expecting the moon. I'm just glancing through to see if there's some other trend lines or things here. I think they all pretty much map up. So let's go ahead and carve up this zones. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I'll go smoking crack or something. I don't know, what do robots sniff? Right? Do they sniff oil? Alright, so this, I mean, that'd still be up there, but, I mean, from a percentage basis, that would seem to align. Then, next up, we're going to have this area down here, and I'm going to expand the YM area a little bit. I probably turned up the radio a little too loud there. I would probably look at this zone like this. And capture the weekly trend guide. And it goes back and actually grabs this area here. This also, I would say, has been interesting. And I would treat this as more than just a div, because you've also got the gap fill in there. Shouldn't be a sneaky gap fill to anybody, but maybe it is. I do not care about this supply and demand zone, this trend strength reference point, weekly pivot point. It's just, no. Not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent at this juncture. I do care about, though, down here, we want to watch this. This should be an interesting one if we can get down here. Back testing that 20-day, get monthly pivot, daily trend guide. You'd be setting a lower high, so that'd be interesting. And down here would also be, you could set a lower high down there too. Weekly trend guide, so that'd be right there. Wrong thing, but might as well do this real quick. And then down here we said we're going to carve up these two together. Get the arrow. Weekly anchored VWAP is right above, so that's interesting. So right in here, There's a weekly anchored VWAP at the photo percentage pieces. It's an interesting anchored VWAP there. It's from December 23rd, and there's definitely some structure there you can see. So it'd be, I mean, that's a good div area. I mean, that's why it's called just that. It's called a div. So that could be an interesting div area to keep an eye on. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for being a guinea pig as well. Alright, so there's YM, paste it away, and then what else do we got next here? Actually, before I do gold and oil, I'm going to finish up with SPY. And while that's dry, I'm going to check something else here real quick. Hopefully these are proven useful, folks. We'll see what's going on. I think right now it's... I don't think I clicked private. Hopefully I didn't. Yeah, I just don't trust this ES at this level here. I know what you got, but... Alright, so SPY is updated. Let's add a couple anchored VWAPs on here. I'd say that's going to be a good one. Nope, over under way too much. Get rid of that. That's a good one. I don't mind that. I mean, held. 1 bar below, 2, 3, and then recover, and then hold here at the annual pivot and swing a VWAP, and then to the tick. Yeah, baby. Yesterday. Holy crap! I mean, is that... Damn. I love the way that we have redone the swing A VWAPs too. Like, I didn't have to think. January 25th, 10:30 a.m. Exactly know where the price is. I mean, yes, tooting our horn, but shit, does that make stuff so much easier. Pardon the language, but man, is that nice. Don't make me think. Yes, you need to think and stuff, right? But take basic stuff like that and make it front and center. Don't make people have to jump through 8 bajillion hoops to figure out some basic stuff. And I say that, and I forget to zoom out to grab all of my levels. Alright, so do SPY. Hopefully this one will be quicker. So nice little zone up there at the highs. You're just going to be above. This would be really sweet. Come up here, get everybody super excited. Come into this end of week cheat. Weekly trend guide, supply and demand. You've got some structure going back to 421, 420 area. And then reverse. And reverse hard would be really preferred in my book. I am going to draw this zone like this, though. And treat it like that. I'm going to ignore... Well, no, trend strike, that could be interesting with where and how we're going to open here today. It's at 413 now. So yeah, maybe come back down and touch this one. And then we're going to get that guy. And then we've got a potential div right there. We fail that, and we're a long ways below, long ways to annual pivot, supply and demand, swing AV WAP, January 19th. 11:30 Central Standard Time. All right, and then next up we are going to do oil. And I have to make a couple of edits here in oil because one of the problems with oil is we use this this method to carve up and find supply and demand zones, and they're great. They're really great. However, in oil, they are so frequent that the way we look at those supply and demand zones, it picks up every one of them and ends up pretty much marking the whole damn chart as a zone. And, well, you can't trade if everything in your chart's marked as a zone. Like, what the hell are you supposed to do with something like that? So, yeah, that's a tough one. Yep, which is fine. So we're going to go in here. We have to change something anyway. So we're going to come in and we are going to change. We don't want it to compute supply and demand zones. All that stuff is fine. We do want it to draw stuff globally. We need the trading hours for this to be NYMEX. And actually I'm going to code that to be picked up automatically tonight. So I don't have to change that when we get to oil and gold. So that'll pick up. I don't want it to compute. There we go. Good to go there. This will all then redraw for us here in a minute, which will be nice. Turn the lights in here. Alright, while that is calculating, I'm going to come back over to this screen. Supply and demand zones will stay on this chart. They're not going to disappear off of this one. So it'll help us as we're thinking about what, where, how we might consider things. So that algorithm is finished. It takes it a while because it's got to go back and grab. And it's looking to find VWAPs from years ago. It wants to try to find all that stuff in the right spot to figure out where you have confluence zones. Still have a bunch. There's it's had a lot of range recently, and it looks like it's starting to get small, but it had a $4 or $5 range a couple days ago, and so the ADRs are carved up into, you know, so far today it's got a range of $1.36. Yesterday was $3.25. Over the prior 5 days, so yesterday and 4 days prior, its average daily range is $3.27 and $2.93, $2.70. That's those pieces. We actually carve it up and try to make it a little bit simpler and just say what's full, what's photo, full other than the outlying. And so full ADR is going to be way down here. If I put my middle mouse button, actually are no photos. With the way it all gets rolled up, it's going to treat them all as the same here today. No way do I think we come down to some of these bigger levels, so I'm going to just ignore them. We've had a nice little bump here. This was not enough of a pullback, I don't think. Yeah, it's probably only like a 38% retracement there. But damn if that isn't pretty amazing with that ABCD there. Looked like it was probably pulled back like about 38% would be my guess. I don't remember what my hotkey was for Fibonacci. F8. I was close. I hit Control. Not even it wasn't even 23. Yeah, it's interesting. Anywho, sick miss yesterday. I had didn't turn on the algo stuff till late. It actually wanted to catch in simulation. I picked it up here in the 74s, I think off of one of these, somewhere in this area. But anywho, so how we carve this sick boy up? This is pretty nasty. We are coming above that daily anchored VWAP too over there, so that's It's going to make today interesting. Trying to reset a little bit off of the buy side symmetrical extreme there too, it looks like. And actually we're back to normal. This is kind of ugly. I'm not sure what to make of this one here today. This is going to be a pretty... Oh, crap. I need to change this part. Sorry, folks. These pivots are going to be off because they are also... Yeah, I got to change these. NYMEX. Okay, so yeah, that took care of that, adjusted some of that, makes stuff look cleaner. Did that really finish adjusting? Yeah. Okay. I don't care about those levels way the hell up there. Like it's I gotta do some work in this one. I don't trade crude a ton, and it's way too ambitious. I guess part of it's because we've had some extreme ADRs recently, and it does try to make sure it captures that kind of extreme aspect, and so that's why it's grabbing these zones way the hell up there. But there's no way oil's gonna trade $5 today. I mean, that'd just be, it's beyond the tier 3 expected move. I mean, I sure you got confluence there, right? Weekly trend guide 2, January 18th, prior swing high, cheat 2 end of week. Maybe we get there this week, but I would put money. I'd put money in that playing out differently. So where do I think? I would look at this $80 area right here, supply and demand, high and low, structure. Oh, suppliers that still pick that stuff up. That should have picked it up. Anyways, this should be an interesting one there. We're definitely in this area and rejecting. It's actually not a bad one to watch there because of that. I don't care about these two zones. I mean, yeah, you've got this one. I'm going to look just more outside zones here today on this. That'd be a $4 move. That would be pretty massive. You get something like that if they said war's off or something silly like that. I mean, maybe. Never know. Biden comes out and says it'll buy at any price. I mean, then what happens? We just don't care. I'll skip the politic pieces, but yeah, I think this would be a really good one. I think I'd actually really like this if we did something like that. And this, I think I'd like if we did that instead. Alright, I don't know, we'll see here. Let's, I guess, go ahead and finish up, since it's already been way longer than I wanted. Harder to carve up today than I'd like. Gotta work on keeping this one on radar to also improve how to carve up zones and improve algo on its decisions to create zones. So I think that's that one, and then last up is going to be gold. Ow! I kicked myself. Oh, that's why, because it still had the global drawings clicked, so that's why it was harder to pick up. I messed that up totally. My bad on that one there, folks. I'm just waiting to see how that finishes drawing and checking some other rooms that I'm part of, seeing what folks got to say. Anything interesting, informative, whatever else. Man, that's a massive freaking drop. I wish I'd kept my... no, actually, I think I might have captured the meat of the move. So I bought actually some gold puts back in this area, added some up here, and I think I sold probably over here in this area. So I think I captured probably the meat of the move, but didn't get all of it. That's all right. What is interesting here is we are back on this transfer trend line. And I am definitely calling that out. GC. Interesting hold of transfer trend line on daily. And attempting to hold, if I could spell, to hold day VWAP December 15th. On watch though is 50-day VWAP. The look below at monthly trend guide 1, and it's in reach today. That's also kind of interesting. I like that. That would be pretty sweet actually. We go down there and tag that, and then kind of reverse off that. It looks like it's also tier 2 daily cheat today, which would be really interesting. So that'd be pretty extreme possibility. Extreme possibility. This is a massive zone. Massive. Quarterly trend guide reversal, monthly pivot, weekly pivot, cheat 2 day, cheat 1 end of week. So they want to keep it between this 1910 level and this 1840 level this week. That's what the market maker's goal is, based upon volatility and all the other fun pieces like that. That's pretty interesting there. Also is set up for the look right here too, it looks like. I'm gonna call that out. Setting up the look pinch between 20-day here at massive zone and also much lower at MTG1 50-day. Alright, so what are we going to have next here? So then we're going to have trend guide reversal all the way down here. And then we have this this one for the look. And then there's a pretty massive zone way down here too. Attempt to hold. The look pinch. All right, folks, that'll do it for us. This has been pretty interesting going through and doing all this prep. This would not have taken us quite this long if we were doing and not talking through, but I think it's useful to do. We'll try to get better about some of these and continue to refine and refresh it, see how this goes. But that was good. We will catch y'all later. Hope you have a good one. Trade them well. And yeah, bye.